Dr. Bolin, can you hear us?
Yes, I'm trying to click the right thing so you can see me.
Hi, Tom.
Hello, how are you, John?
Good.
Good to meet you, Bradley.
Nice to meet you, Dr. Bowling.
Tom is fine, please. Where's not familiar with Google Meet as I am with the other platforms. Okay.
Excellent. So I'm going to go ahead and officially call this meeting to order at 6:03. I want to start off first with a couple introductions, but also just so everybody knows, and I think everybody's familiar, the Board of Elections meetings are open meetings, so we're currently live streaming to YouTube, and this will be on records just so everybody's aware of that, but I believe you all knew that already. For those of you that don't know me, which I think just about everybody does at this point, I'm Patrick O'Brien, City Administrator. Been in Frostburg since 2002, and been with the city for the past just about 7 months now. We're working towards 7 months. John, you want to?
John O'Rourke. Currently employed at Frostburg State University.
Bradley?
Bradley Brandon. I am currently employed at Bishop Walsh School as the Director of Advancement. I have been in Frostburg since 2007. I'm a Baltimore native, but I have been in Frostburg since 2007.
And Tom Bolin, I've been in Frostburg since 1976. Was employed at Frostburg State for 43 years, now retired, but still have a couple of connections to the university.
Excellent. Well, I appreciate all of you being willing to serve on our Board of Elections. It's a small but mighty group, so you all will be responsible for ensuring that our election process goes accordingly, and that it's secure and timely is going to be one of the big things. So one of the things that is not on the agenda that we will need to do is elect a chair. So after today, one of you will be chair and will run the official meetings. I do all the staff work for everything, so I'll be putting the agendas together, getting the documents together, and things like that. So one of the big things for the chair is running the meetings and kind of being one of the main contacts with me. Is anybody interested in being the chair?
I'll do it.
Excellent. Any objections?
None.
We'll nominate John as chair. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Excellent. Congratulations.
Thank you.
So today is not going to be an overly long meeting. There's a couple of things that need approved before we kind of kick off the election season. So we like to try and get notice out, a media release out very early in January. So normally the first or second working day. We're aiming for the 5th to have a media release out, just to let everybody know that the election is coming and have the forms ready for that. And then after that, the more mandated and timely things, we'll have a little bit of time to do that with. So I know that this is a lot of information, especially with the review of the city code and the charter amendments and things like that. Did everybody have a chance to kind of glance over it at least and get an idea of what we're doing?
Yes.
Okay. Any initial questions off the bat about the process or anything that was confusing or concerning?
The only thing that I found a little bit confusing was that the reference to a change in terms of absentee ballots that I wasn't exactly clear about.
In what regard?
It seemed like a resolution had been passed that would limit the use of absentee ballots. Did I misinterpret that?
I believe so because, and it may be more of the fact that getting rid of the term absentee ballot and moving to mail-in ballot, it may have been why that was a little confusing. But So the election process, everybody in Frostburg will be mailed a ballot. So everyone gets a mail-in ballot, not necessarily absentee, but it'll be that way. And then on election day, all those ballots are just due to the ballot drop box. By the end of the day, we don't have like an official like election concept. People can come in and request a ballot if they lost it on election day and deposit it as if it was kind of an election, a normal election day. But so that's probably where the confusion resides.
Got it. Thank you.
And our voter rolls we get from the county?
Yes. So the county will provide us with a list of registered voters for the Frostburg area. We'll go through and make sure that the addresses listed are within city limits and double check that. Individuals can also just register with the city of Frostburg to vote. So if they aren't a registered voter at the state level or county level and they want to register to vote for our election, they can do that. We do have a form for that. So we may have a couple that we add on to the county's list. And then that list will go to a company that we hire to actually create and mail out the ballots on our behalf.
Got it.
Thank you.
Any other questions? Excellent. So one of the big things with the election will be just timing of certain things. So we have to post information 6 weeks out and 2 weeks out about the election. The candidates have to have their paperwork in by March 20th in order to get on the ballot. We'll then have to also bring in the Ethics Commission to review their ethics paperwork to make sure that they can be approved to be on the ballot. And then once all that's done, everything gets sent to the company to send to mail out the ballots to everyone. We will also have a number of ballots, and we'll look at last year's information about how many people needed it that are mailed directly to City Hall to give to people if they lost their ballot. So anytime a ballot is lost, each ballot has a specific number on it. We can assign an extra ballot to somebody to make sure that we're not having more than one vote per person and those types of things. So one of the, I guess, more time-consuming efforts, especially for this group, will be when we're actually canvassing the ballots and counting everything. So the day after Election Day, we'll spend a good bit of time doing that. We do have staff that will help, but you all will oversee the process for that. And then we do have ballots that are actually mailed and have to be postmarked by Election Day, and then have to be in, I believe, 10 days after that. So throughout those days, we'll pick some times to do some additional counting to make the election official and get a final count.
Did I understand that we do post preliminary results
Yes.
that do not include, that are not official, that do not include all of the late mailings, or not late, but the mailings yet to come?
Yes, so we will do, after we get the initial count from everything in the ballot box on Election Day and things that have been mailed in previously, everything received by June 2nd. We will put a preliminary results out just so everybody has an idea of where we stand, but then we'll continue to count as the mail-in ones come in. Any other questions or concerns about that? Excellent. So a couple of the things to review so that we can start to get information out. The first one is the election calendar. I don't know if everybody's had an opportunity to look at this. The city has been doing elections in this manner since 2020. So we've had the 2020 election. It was a little bit more on the fly because of the timing of the election and the timing of COVID. But for the 2022 election and 2024 election, they had switched to this way and continued to do it. So The schedule is pretty set and standard at this point. There's nothing too out of the way or crazy about it, but I've included the internal election calendar in your packet, and that's what's up on screen now. This has dates beyond what we normally just put out like to the public. It's obviously all open information, but we'll put a condensed version out for the public. In reviewing this, did anybody see any issues or concerns or have any questions about the calendar?
No, it was very helpful to have this outline.
Excellent.
Calendar.
And I will see if I can, I think I brought it here. So once that is officially approved by you all, let me see if I can share this other screen. It will, there we go. This is what, just as heads up, what the condensed version looks like. It's more of a one-pager. I think it fits on one page. Hold on. If I can find my mouse. And so this has just the main dates on it, not necessarily the processes, but due dates, when things will be coming out, mailing dates, and things of the sort. So once we look over and officially approve the other one, it'll be converted into this to go out with the press release. I think my mouse died on me, so I have to use the little trackpad, so bear with me. There we go. Okay. Not sure why I don't have it. So any questions about the election calendar or anything on it as far as the process goes? Okay. Then if there are no questions, any concerns about kind of approving it as it stands?
No, I move for approval.
Thank you.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
I appreciate that. And then the next thing is a press release that is scheduled to go out on January 5th, so Monday, January 5th, letting everybody know about the election and the process mainly for candidates to sign up and get on the ballot. This will go out with a copy of the calendar and is just a press release. The notices that have to go out 6 weeks out and 2 weeks out of the election will actually be public notices that are paid for and put into the paper. This will just be a media release that we put on our website, Facebook page, and we send out to all the local newspapers. Any questions or concerns about this? No. Excellent. Then, so for approval, does somebody have a motion?
I move to approve the media release as distributed.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
It's very weird to do this virtually, but we're gonna make it work. And then next, and so that you all are aware of it as well, but also for approval, and these were the same format as last year for candidacy forms. but each of these are the forms that would be filled out by the mayor and the 4 commissioners in order to, excuse me, in order to become a candidate. This, along with the standard ethics form that everybody has to fill out, has to be filled out by all of them, as well as a $10 fee. The fee to become a candidate is very doable. It's one of the things they keep it relatively low because they don't want to have any barriers to people running for office. But other than, I believe this version of it, just as a heads up, I believe the footer had the wrong date on it. That has since been corrected. Any questions about this form or what it's used for?
Nope.
Then if that's the case, we would just need to approval of the candidate application documents.
I move that we accept the candidate application documents with the amendment that the footer will be changed to the appropriate year, otherwise as submitted.
And a second?
All in favor?
Aye.
Excellent. And then after that, in the packet, these don't need to be voted on right now, but for just for your review, so you can start to see some of the things that we'll be putting together. There is the control for ballots form that we'll be using, as well as, I think there's one other on here. The voter registration form for individuals that want to register to vote specifically with Frostburg. We will be encouraging everybody to just register to vote in general through the county's website, or through the state's website rather. But if somebody particularly doesn't want to do that and wants to vote in the city election, we do have these forms that are available. They'll have to do this no later than 4 p.m. on Monday, May 4th. So it will be a bit ahead of the election, but we do allow this. So these are just some forms that we'll be looking over. We'll officially have you approve these leading up to the election. But any questions about these?
No.
Nope.
Excellent. So there is a ballot drop box that will be inside the lobby of the police department. So it is accessible 24/7, which is very nice. It's also monitored by camera, and the individual that's at the desk at the police station. And that will be the primary way ballots come in. We do have people that mail them in as well. When ballots come in, if that ballot box gets full, we'll have to have somebody come in to secure them. We have seal tape that goes on boxes and things like that to make sure that they're not tampered with. And we'll talk a little bit more about those kind of processes, but normally when anything like that happens, one or multiple individuals from the board will come in to make sure that that's done correctly and that you all are signing off on that. So especially kind of that late April into, or late May into June, sorry, time is when you'll be a little bit more active. We'll talk about some more specific dates as we get closer, so you all can try to hold some time on your calendar for it. But that process, like I said, you all will be very much involved in that. So, before we get into a couple of the next steps, is there any questions about the actual election process, what your role is, anything like that?
Patrick, this may be a question that you will not be able to answer, but I'm just curious if you are aware of any issues that have been particularly difficult for the Board of Elections to confront in the past, any history that we should be aware of?
From what I gathered in the last election, especially because there was such a good turnout, because we had the position of mayor being contested, I believe the total vote count was a little over 1,300 for the year. In years when there hasn't been either the mayor's position or some of the other positions contested, I know that the count has been a bit lower. Counting and canvassing ballots the days after the election, from what I understand, was a bit of a task and took longer than expected. The election is meant to be certified no later than 10 days after the election by 11:59. And I think that there was a bit of a rush to get to that. Maybe not a rush, but a push. We had pulled some extra people in to help count. The process for canvassing ballots is a little intense because you originally start by finding out how many ballots there are without looking at who sent them in or anything like that. Once that's done, they're put in order, and that count is double checked as they're put in order, and then they're all taken out of the certified envelope, and then the ballots are then counted so that the vote isn't tied to any individual. So you wind up having to count the ballots 2 or 3 times throughout this process. So we can talk about that process and how we want to kind of approach it, knowing that it was a little bit longer last year. And we can have some people on standby to help out. I think last year there wasn't the expectation that those extra individuals would be needed, or at least as many of them would be needed. So especially right on the day of the election and the day after, I think that was the most kind of intense time for counting. If I remember correctly, the preliminary results that came out very late that day because they were working on that. So, but we could definitely work on that. I think that was probably the biggest thing. We do have a handful of ballots that normally get sent back after mailing because of the fun addresses in Western Maryland. So we probably had, looking at the sheet, I would say maybe 40 or 50 people that requested a replacement ballot. Some of them were individuals that lost it or didn't realize what it was when it came in the mail. And I think, if I remember correctly, there's maybe half a dozen or so ballots that were mailed out that we got returned to us. Other than that, I think there was only a handful of ballots that were submitted that weren't submitted properly or didn't have the voter oath on it and those types of things that were actually rejected. But for the most part, the process seems to work pretty well.
Good to hear.
Yeah. Any other questions about the process or? One of the things under the discussion items, just for you all to think about, is voter registration events. It's not something that is required that we do, but it may be something that you all are interested in trying to encourage people to get involved in the election a little bit more. It could be something that we just do on social media, or we could actually, bring Allegheny County Board of Elections up to help run just a general voter registration event. Tom, I know it's something that you and I have done a lot of times on FSU's campus. Definitely something we could do in the community if we thought it was appropriate. Again, it's not necessarily a requirement, but it's always, just a good thing in general to encourage people to vote. So if that is something that you all are interested in as a board, it's definitely something we could do. And then the other thing would be setting up meetings and next steps. So the purpose of this meeting was mainly just to get some of those things approved, make sure we have a chair for next time. And then once we're doing it all in person, we can get a little bit deeper into kind of talking about roles and things like that, who wants to take on certain aspects of it and those types of things. Now that we've gotten to this point, we have about 2 months or so before we really have to get into the thick of stuff. So we do have some time, but I would like to meet again relatively soon so that we can meet in person and kind of review everything together in a little bit more detail. I know that finding this time was not easy, as you can see with people being virtual, and I appreciate everybody being willing to kind of bend their schedules a little bit to make that happen. Is there a better time? I know that I think you had suggested potentially times during the day. I don't know how that works for everybody else. Is there a better day or a better time than some of the options I put out, or is it just that because we were around the holidays, nothing seemed to work? Feel free to shout out your thoughts.
Yeah, for me, it was due to the holiday time. Day is not going to be ideal for me just because I work in a school, and I be there all day, so evenings will be ideal for me. But if days work for John and Tom, I'll make it work.
Bradley, how would a very late afternoon meeting work for you or not?
That will probably work. I could probably move things around for that.
When are you normally free for the day?
So my work day ends at 3:30, but I can certainly scoot out earlier if I need to.
Okay, but if we did something around like 4 or 4:30, it'd be
Yeah,
okay.
I think that's not a problem.
Was that
That fits my schedule, so.
okay?
Generally, me,
Is there a specific day of the week that would be better for meetings, just in general, or?
it varies in terms of my schedule.
Yeah. I would prefer not Fridays.
Yeah, okay. I agree with not Fridays. That's fine. We'll leave Saturdays and Sundays alone too. So, okay. But other than that, pretty much.
What frequency? Are we talking about monthly meetings, or more frequent, or less frequent, or?
So you all kind of get to decide to meet as needed. So once we have a good sit-down meeting together in a room where we can kind of dig into this a little bit more, we can kind of talk about it after that. And I would imagine what we'll do is we'll set a couple meetings leading into some of the bigger things. So I don't expect that we'll necessarily need to meet monthly. It may be a bigger gap. But as we get closer to the election, it may be that we have a week, every other week or something like that for a little while. But the frequency of meeting is completely up to you all. I figured next time we meet, we can get a little bit more into detail about that. But would aiming for maybe like the last week or two in January as a kind of get together. Well, school doesn't start back up for you until 26. And Bradley, I assume that you have students back in the next week or so.
Correct. January 5th, I think. Yeah, that's our first day back.
Okay. Then maybe I can aim for. Would the week of the 26th be all right, or would you prefer the week before?
Sort of 4:30-ish.
Yeah.
That should be fine. Either one would be fine.
Okay. I'll put a doodle poll out for 4:30 on a couple days, the last 2 weeks of January, so we can see what works best, and we'll kind of get our next meeting up and running there. We'll get a little bit deeper into things. In the meantime, if there's anything in particular that you want to make sure we're going over, or anything that you want examples of from last year, or any questions you have about the process, especially because I wasn't there, that I can ask some of the people that were here at the time, please just let me know and send to me, and I'll make sure that I get it prepared and set up for everybody.
One thing that I would be interested in seeing is the ethics form that candidates fill out.
Sure.
I'm not sure I've ever seen that, so.
And I promise not to click on the video link the next time, that I will ignore that and click on the calendar. Like, I don't know what made me go there. It was at the bottom of the page. So I thought, oh, maybe they changed the accent to this.
Well, and that was probably
really
my fault.
not fair. I'm not putting any of that on anyone else.
Well, so the second email I sent out with the packet and everything is also the one that it's the version that would get sent to like the media and stuff as well. When we do like council meetings, it takes links from our webpage and just kind of puts it into an email. But it does include the YouTube video, yes. So, okay, but so copies of ethics form. Anything else in particular that anybody can think of right now that you'd want to go over or look at for next time?
I'm good with what you gave us so far.
Not I.
Okay, yeah, like I said, most of what's in here is a lot to begin with. So, excellent. Any questions, concerns?
Yeah.
So again, thanks for all putting this very informative packet together.
Yes.
Excellent.
Thanks for getting us started.
Yeah. Well, and like I said, I'm the staff help for this. I have no say in voting or anything like that. You know, the direction of the election and how we go about it is very much on you all. And if we need to, we can always go to mayor and council about passing an ordinance to change something or those types of things if we think appropriate either for this year or future years. But I'm staff support, so anything you need, I'm here to help with. And we'll make it work.
Excellent. Thank you.
Excellent.
Thank you, John, for stepping up to serve as chair.
Well, I didn't see anybody else raising their hands or begging, so I figured I'd end the awkward silence.
Well, it's appreciated.
Excellent. I will get an email out hopefully tomorrow or the day after with meeting times so we can get that on the calendar so everybody's well aware of it and I can get it posted online. And then we'll work, I'll send some emails back and forth about any questions you have or anything you want on the agenda. And we'll put together a draft agenda that way. So.
Okay.
Excellent. Thank you all so much for those of you that are traveling. Travel safe. Hope everybody had a nice holiday and has a happy new year.
Thank you.
You as well.
You too.
Cheers. Take care, gentlemen.
We'll officially adjourn at 6:31. Thank you all.
Great.
All right.
Squeeze over here.